I'm Bree Cross. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited for Friday from AirVenture 2016 at Whitman Regional Airport. On our program today, the Snowbirds love being at Oshkosh. EAA Young Eagle program celebrates its 2 millionth flight. We get an Aspen Avionics update. Those stories and more are coming up on this edition of Airborne Unlimited. For the first time since 1983, the Canadian Snowbirds demonstration team will be performing in Oshkosh, and they are thrilled to be here.
Is this your first time here at Oshkosh?
This is my first time. I've been looking forward to it since the day they told us it was on the schedule.
What are you looking forward to seeing here at Oshkosh?
Well, I'm looking forward to a lot of the performers, their performance demonstrations. Seeing the lineup, there's some absolutely fantastic performers that are going to be here. Interested in walking around the smaller civilian aircraft and talking to some of them, meeting some of the pilots who build their own experimental aircraft, and seeing that side of the house, which we don't see a lot of in the military, and as well some of the large static demonstrations and expositions. So I imagine I will not have a moment to sleep more than I require.
What got you interested in aviation?
About as far as I can remember. My mother's actually from Australia, so from a very young age we used to travel back to Australia to visit her family, and I would sit there on the airplane looking out the windows. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do since that time. As far back as I can remember, aviation's always been in my life, and it's always been what I've wanted to do.
Well, Abe, thank you very much for taking some time to talk with us. Again, welcome to Oshkosh. We're very happy you guys are here, and we're looking forward to the shows.
Thank you very much.
To say that the EAA Young Eagles program is a success is an understatement. We at ANN are glad we could participate in the celebration of the 2 millionth Young Eagle flight.
This is truly a movement, and it's about our youth, inspiring them to push their boundaries, and we're doing it through flight. And remember, all across the United States of America, there's 8,000 pilots a year volunteer because we believe in the youth of America. Our youth makes America great, and every single one of them from all walks of life get to come flying with us, and it doesn't cost them a dime. And from there we have pathways for scholarships, for memberships into EAA, for a learn to fly course, and these kids are the most important thing we have, and the EAA recognizes this, and this is the greatest aviation movement in the world, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Well, this is an incredible milestone. 2 million kids in 24 years have gotten their first introduction to flight through the Young Eagles program. We fly about 75,000 or 80,000 Young Eagles a year with the Young Eagle program. It's a fantastic program.
Ready? All right.
This is Joe.
Okay, yeah.
The 2 millionth Young Eagle. It's a huge group of dedicated pilots who all come together, donate their time, use of their airplanes to introduce young people to aviation. It's an amazing program, and the reason it's been so successful is because of all the volunteers across the country, and it's really fun. You know, we're way behind in growing our pilot population. We're going to need a lot of commercial airline pilots. I'd like to see them homegrown. Aviation's been very important to the history of this country, and I'd like to see it continue. This particular flight, I'll remember for a long time. It was really, really fun.
That was amazing. I'm just really thankful for this experience and for the opportunity to pursue my dreams of flight, and just thank you so much to everybody who's made this possible. Thank you, Harrison.
ANN's Tom Patton checks in with Aspen Avionics to find out what's new by talking with the company president, John Uczekaj.
John Uczekaj from Aspen Avionics. Some interesting items that you had at your news conference the other day, some nice new products. What are some of the new things that are coming out of your shop?
Well, we're working a lot. As you can see, there's a lot of activity in the industry, specifically around avionics and certification and all that stuff. And, you know, we've always prided ourselves as being a company that can work with others in low install prices, keep the cost of flying down, and so we continue to strive to bring ways to bring all these new technologies and integrate them in the cockpit with all the different potential interfaces and different boxes you have. We made some announcements on ADS-B, being able to complement the ADS-B information that might come out on your iPad or might come out on the specific ADS-BN stuff. So we're making that easier to use, make it more accessible to the pilots so that they can use it more tactically and strategically when they fly. So we really kind of stayed with who we are, and that's bringing those types of technologies in a manner that increases situational awareness, doesn't add more complexity, and in the end adds safety to the cockpit. With that, we announced the STEC interface, the STEC 55X. Many of our customers have been waiting for this for a little bit, and we've been a little bit behind getting it out, but we find we're getting it out now. And that provides the level of integration for mode enunciation, gets rid of the altitude select panel that's part of the STEC and integrates in the Aspen. And again, that's all in line of who we are and what we do. And those two were our biggest announcements. We also had an interesting announcement that may not have been as appropriate for this market, because this is, Oshkosh is a little bit more of the general aviation market, but we are now announcing that we're doing engine instruments with our partner HAL Instruments on the MD helicopter line. So that's very exciting for us as our displays get used for more things. So this has been a big Oshkosh for us in terms of announcements, and we're very excited about it.
After the break, we hear about what's going on at Agile Aero, and Jim brings us the final interview with Jack Pelton.
Since 2001, MGL Avionics has produced avionics for experimental and light sport aircraft. The flagship product is the AUVSI, a comprehensive next-generation flight, engine, and navigation instrument designed to meet the demands of the modern pilot. See more at www.mglavionics.com.
Explore no limits flying in the FAA-certified Sea Ray Amphibious LSA, one of the top 3 best-selling LSAs in the U.S. Progressive Aerodyne Sea Ray comes equipped with a Rotax engine and exhibits extraordinary handling on land, water, and in the air. Check it out at www.searay.com.
Trigg's TT22 transponder is the ideal ADS-B out solution where panel space is tight. It's lightweight, highly compact, and 2020 compliant. It comes with a free FAA ADS-B STC that covers 576 aircraft types. You can even use your existing GNS or GTN navigator. Save money and space by contacting your approved Trigg dealer now. www.trig-avionics.com.
Welcome back to Airborne, coming to you this week from AirVenture 2016 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. If you've seen something really cool around Oshkosh, let us know with the hashtag Osh16Coolest on your social media posts. ANN's Jim Campbell introduces us to a group of aerospace professionals that call their organization Agile Aero. Their focus is solving aerospace challenges.
Tell us about your plans at this point, and at this stage of the game, why do you want to start over?
Well, where X-Corps was most successful was when we were doing engine development. And the reason for that was we developed the techniques for trying rocket engines out very, very quickly. So no matter how crazy the idea was, we could try it. And a surprising number of them, no matter work, even when you might not want to trust that they would. When we got to doing custom airframe development for supersonic airframes, it got a lot slower. And there were so many details to deal with. It's in the textbooks, even for supersonic aircraft design, that supersonic aircraft are tightly integrated designs where everything affects everything else, and that makes them difficult to design. Towards the end of my time at X-Corps, I was starting to question that and say to myself, if I'd known everything 10 years ago that I know now, we might have been able to approach the design of a ship that could be designed and tried out quickly. And after I left X-Corps, I said, rather than setting up another company to do one vehicle for one market that interests me, why don't I take what I've learned and set up a company to do vehicles for all of the other people who've had the same problem, have interesting visions for high-performance aircraft or spacecraft, and find themselves trying to put a team together who've never done this before to do it for the first time. So we're really setting up to kind of fill the kind of niche that Scaled Composites once filled for subsonic aircraft prototyping, only for high subsonic, supersonic, and hypersonic vehicles.
It's the 5th day of EAA AirVenture 2016 as our conversation between ANN CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell and EAA President Jack Pelton continues. The discussion dwells on how EAA can help aviation improve and help itself. Pelton says EAA is committed on building a tent that everyone can play in.
All these changes, there's FAA and airplanes and what we're doing medical and regulatory environments and so forth. What changes does EAA need to make to be vital to the future? We're watching a couple of associations that aren't keeping up. We're watching a few others get real innovative and actually start really hard charging. Some of the work you've done, and let's face it, it's been a good year for EAA stepping up on a couple of areas, but what's the future of EAA look like, or for that matter, the future of AirVenture?
You know, let's start with EAA first. I think we're really focused on continuing to chip away at the issues and roadblocks, if you will, but also trying to turn ourselves into being all things aviation, from an aviation enthusiast, history, innovation, that this can be the big tent that everybody can play in. And we've made some relationship changes with the modeling groups, with the Soaring Society. We're looking at all sorts of those groups as to how do you get it doesn't have to be make them EAA, but how do we all get integrated and knitted together, if you will, with the culmination of that being AirVenture every year. And keeping that as the focus, that once a year you'll come here and see everybody in that big community, in the big tent, in their own defined areas, that will keep people interested and keep this viable. And then a lot of it has to do with the other things we talked about, staying ahead of the curve on change, making sure we're using technology appropriately, that we're understanding our demographics, that we're doing real assessments on where should we be focused. If the pilot population is a concern, how do we help and get engaged in that, which is one of the reasons we looked at the Sport Pilot Academy, and how do we help foster and be an enabler to make a difference.
You and I both knew Paul for decades. What do you think he'd think of all this right now?
Paul, and a lot of it, even in my conversations with him before he left us, he's still looking over to make sure the weather's okay and everything's taken care of. Paul was very pragmatic in saying, we started this small group of this home-built movement, and that's really all I wanted to do, and then do a lot of fun flying. But it became more than that, and he let it become more and grew it and did think about it. We're fighting like hell over a third-class medical, and this guy created an entire class of airplanes that if we didn't have today with the experimental home-built movement, I don't know where GA would be, because they're registering more of those on an annual basis than they are certified airplanes. So it's clearly in the driver's seat of recreational flying. And while he loved those roots, and while he loved that small community and the Rockford experience, he was very real in saying, but it needs to be bigger, it's gotten bigger, and we need to continue to feed it and help it grow. But I still miss my old, 6 buddies in the basement. He knew this was what was really required and important for aviation. So I think as long as we stick to the values of this is a giant family and we treat each other that way, his cleanliness routines, and that we're fighting for the right things for the right reasons and doing it in a civilized manner, he would be very proud.
I think you're right. Although I'll tell you what, I've been working late in our little headquarters, and I get out and walk every now and then, and it's like 1 in the morning, and you walk up and down the way up in front of IAC down toward the light plane area and back, and you think of all the things that you've seen and done here, and whether it would be running around with Paul for an hour or two in the VW and seeing people, or all the other people you met. The interesting thing he always emphasized was it's all about the people. And the funny part is, as I walk up and down here each night, yeah, there's, the cool airplane, and this did this and this did that, but for some reason I always keep thinking about the people. He was onto something.
He really was. People say that unprompted. I mean, I met with the kind of an in-briefing for the controllers today, and I met the head supervisor, and he said, we're really here to do our job and love the airplanes, but isn't this special with the people, and we get to see our friends, and I reflect on that every time this event comes up. I've seen every air show act you can see. I've probably seen every airplane that's been on display, but I get really excited because I get to see my friends.
This concludes our 5-part interview with EAA President Jack Pelton. We offer our sincere thanks to Jack and to this great organization for allowing us an up-close and personal look at what's happening now and what is in the future for EAA. After the break, AirVenture 2016 is now history, but ANN coverage will continue, and more innovation previews are on the horizon.
Are you stall smart? Ever since Orville and Wilbur took to the skies, pilots have been taught that the more airspeed you have, the better off you are. But over the last 100 plus years, we've learned that's not always the case. Take stalls, for example. The common belief is that if you have sufficient airspeed, the aircraft won't stall. The fact is, an airfoil always stalls at the same critical angle of attack in relation to the relative airflow, regardless of airspeed, configuration, or weight. Learn more at aspenavionics.com.
We are the Aero-News Network, with over 250,000 stories, 7,000 Aero podcasts, 3,000 Aero-TV programs, 700 episodes of Airborne, and so much more. It's a record of performance unequaled in the Aeroverse, and there's far more to come. Aero-News, committed to innovate, inform, inspire, and disrupt the aviation world.
Welcome back to Airborne Unlimited on Aero-TV, coming to you this week from AirVenture 2016 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. This is our last report from the grounds of EAA AirVenture 2016, and we can honestly say it's been a really great show. But just because we're no longer on the grounds, it does not mean that AirVenture has come to a close for us. We have follow-up stories on the way, and of course, you can continue to see the latest and greatest in innovation on our AirVenture Innovation Preview programming that will continue to be posted. While this program was created as a preview, it continues to provide your best source to review all that continues to be new and innovative. You can check it out on www.oshcast.com. And here's a look in the future for what's next for ANN's Innovation Preview programming. We are joining with the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems International's major event, simply known as Xponential, in May of next year. We'll be bringing you innovation from that show that will knock your socks off. So long from Oshkosh, and thanks for joining in with us. We hope you enjoy the ride. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday, with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Have a great weekend, and next week you'll be treated to an encore of this week's coverage at EAA AirVenture 2016. Airborne Unlimited broadcast will resume again from our ANN home studios on August 8th.